Hello and thank you for watching. The topic of this video is online addiction. It's never been easy to either be a parent or a teenager, and trying to raise a young person who is going through puberty and also learning to spread their wings can be very stressful, as well as, of course, rewarding. In normal times, I would be pushing to have extreme limits on technology usage, as there's a lot of evidence that being online can have a serious impact and a negative impact on teens. However, in 2020, COVID-19 has made me throw out the textbook, or at least write a new chapter. So first, let's go through my recommendations for normal times. According to kidshealth.org, there are studies showing that teens can spend up to 9 hours a day online, using their phone in front of the TV or playing video games. Many of these activities are changing how people interact. So for example, there are games, lots of them now, where people can be playing against other people all over the world. Instead of friends meeting at somebody's house, more and more, they're each going to their own homes separately and then connecting with each other remotely. So they're playing together still, but not physically in the same location. In my video on video game and online addiction, and the link is on this page, I discuss the difference between what I call virtual time and time in the real world, and the problems that it causes. I encourage you to watch it. I actually think that the bigger problem that we're facing now are the social changes that are taking place because of technology. Physical activities being replaced by online games, and VR or virtual reality is going to be adding over time what I think is a new and negative element that will increase the chances of people of any age, let alone young people, becoming addicted. One of my pet peeves is sitting in a restaurant and watching children as young as 1 being supervised by either a smartphone or a tablet. It's when they walk in like this, or they're being carried in and they're looking at their device rather than just having nothing in their hand to look around. These poor children are being robbed of their opportunity to learn how to sit quietly on their own and to self-regulate. Are they quiet? For sure, absolutely. At least until that video where their game ends. Are they learning important social skills, like how to sit at the table quietly? Well, I'm sure you can answer that one for yourself. And if I'm describing your parenting style, and this upsets you and you're getting mad at me, I apologize. And I also think you need to ask yourself, is what I'm saying, does it make sense, yes or no? In the end, do as you think is best. So my recommendations for technology under COVID-19. My comment at the beginning about how COVID-19 has changed how I see the usage of technology doesn't apply to young children so much, more with teenagers and the older kids. So my feelings about phones and tablets that are babysitting the kids in restaurants has not changed. To combat the rise in time spent in the virtual world, at least prior to COVID, I would suggest the following with my changes for COVID that I'll discuss as well. So number 1, don't allow your teens to use their phones during meals or alone in their bedrooms. Will this make you popular as a parent? Probably not. But it will teach your young adult that there are places where the real world is the only place for them to be. So this point I do adapt because of COVID-19. Because people are spending more time at home and together than they would have in the past, with parents working at home, kids going to school at home, it actually may make more sense for people to use technology in their bedrooms more often. The key is to monitor it and to make sure it doesn't become a problem. So number 2, in my pre-COVID recommendations. You need to follow the rules that you put on your teens. If you expect them to have device-free times, like dinner for example, well then you need to honor that as well. Just as it's important for them, it's important for you too, and for the family. So this recommendation does not change. If you expect your teens not to use their phones during a certain period of time, please lead by example. Number 3, if you are worried about your teen, then talk to them, and do it without judgment. Let them know why you are concerned and that you care. This recommendation also remains the same. It's always good to talk to your kids. I'm sometimes asked if without judgment means agreeing with your teenager, and the answer is no. Parents also ask me if this means they can't impose consequences. Again, the answer is no. You are still in charge. So for example, let's say your teen took an inappropriate picture of themselves and sent it to friends. You might take their phone away. If that's the natural consequence of their action, then you should still impose that consequence. Removing judgment helps them learn from their experiences. Saying to a teenager, to anybody, that you're disappointed in them is judging them as a person. Saying you're disappointed in what they did is telling them that their action was wrong. It is a subtle, but I think a very large and important difference. So number 4 in my pre-COVID recommendations. Visit your child's school and talk to the principal and guidance counselors about how the school manages devices. See if there are ways to create a similar environment at home, Consistency may be easier to understand by your teenager. Now, because of COVID, this might be harder to arrange as access to schools is more restrictive. And if your child is going to school in person, I would still try to do it. If they're learning online, then you could probably just skip right to the next point. So number 5, again, this is pre-COVID, and this is the hard one. Don't give up your authority. If you're paying the bills for your child's phone, then don't be afraid to cut it off if your rules are not being followed. Following through with this will also demonstrate your seriousness and that you care for your children. Now, this recommendation under COVID does not change. Your kids, including teenagers, need to know that there's a structure and limits to what they're able to do. Now, not only is this going to help you at home in terms of setting guidelines and boundaries at home, but this also helps them learn an important lesson for when they are on their own. They can't go to work and just use their phone whenever they want if their boss expects them to work. So the biggest change under COVID-19, the biggest change that has introduced is the amount of time that I would say is healthy to be online. And in this case, my definition of the word health has expanded. And I'm including in that now social health as part of this conversation. A person's overall health is a combination of their medical or biological health, their mental health, and their social health. And on the web page, you'll see a diagram of how they interrelate. And this is called biopsychosocial health. Prior to COVID, there were many more activities for people of all ages to take part in. Now, because of COVID, the selection is limited. So a teenager's phone, or Xbox or PS4, might be their main way of keeping in touch with their friends. Without it, they may be completely cut off, so therefore no social life. My recommendation is to monitor how they are using their technology. If in your judgment they are being responsible, and it's helping them maintain social connections and social health, then it may be best to let them do it. You can still impose rules. No phones at meals, the phone and the PlayStation disappears after a certain time of the day, no phone before being ready for school, whatever makes sense for you. But it's important to realize that under COVID-19, technology like cell phones and gaming consoles are a core part of how some people are keeping in touch with each other. If you ever have the chance, I highly recommend attending one of Paul Davis's sessions on internet security. The damage that can be done to a teenager's life by poor decisions with their phones or online can last a lifetime. He offers a blunt and compelling message that all parents need to hear, and you can check him out on Facebook. The link is on my page. So I hope this video was helpful. It's really trying times that we're in right now with COVID, and the usual rules may not apply. Make sure that you monitor what your children and your teens are doing online, in terms of as much as you're able, in terms of how much time they're spending, and if it's healthy, then what I may have told you a year ago may not apply. So do your best. If there's any help that I can provide, let me know. My number is 416-613-1259, or you can email me at kevin@hhcw.ca. Have a good day.